So, in this episode, first of all, I really like to congratulate every Arsenal fan for that fantastic win against Manchester United. What a performance! Gooners! What a performance! What a final death touch that meant so much from Eddie Nketiah. And bro, we are top of the table, 5 points ahead with a game to go in our hands. And of course, Erling Haaland can have that golden boot, bro, but we need to have that hands on the Premier League title. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Jakub Kiwior, the details of all the whole deal. We're also going to talk about Weston McKennie to Arsenal. We're going to talk about Eddie or Eduardo Camavinga to Arsenal. We're going to talk about lots of stuff. So stay tuned, of course, and if you seek regular Arsenal content, the best place to be, consider subscribing. So the first news, let's talk about Martin Odegaard on City's win against Spurs and Wolves, putting pressure on Arsenal. He says, "No, honestly, we don't care about City or any other team. We expected them to win against Wolves, so that was not a big surprise. And we just focus on our game to win, and that's what we did. And of course, that is what we need to know." Mateo Moreto has opened up about Jakub Kiwior's deal to Arsenal. He says, 23 million euros fixed plus 2 million euros in variables plus 5% of future sale figure to Spezia. Well. Actually, Spezia did not want to sell the player. We're going to talk about that. So, here we go. Tutto Mercato Web has opened up about this whole deal. They say that Spezia turned down offers from Borussia Dortmund, RB Leipzig, Atletico Madrid, Brentford, and Leicester before accepting Arsenal's offer for Jakub Kiwior. Arsenal won out of the race with their offer proposing a deal worth 25 million euros plus 5 million euros in add-ons, is what they say. Also, Kaya Kane access Jakub Kiwior set to complete Arsenal transfer soon. Fee of £17.5 million plus £3.5 million in add-ons with a contract until 2027 with the option to extend a year. Smart move from Arsenal as the Polish international strengthens several areas of the squad. Well, how many times this has happened that Arsenal have made some smart business in the transfer window, and I'm loving it, man. I'm really loving it. Also, Arsenal's player of the match for yesterday's game was Alexander Zinchenko. That's very interesting. Very interesting. So let's move on from this one. What do we have next? We spoke about Jakub Kiwior. Let's before talking about Eduardo Camavinga, let's talk about more stuff. Let us talk about Weston McKennie. So Arsenal are again interested for Weston McKennie. Would you want Weston? First of all, would you take Weston McKennie at Arsenal? Because according to Giovanni Albanese, he says that Juventus are willing to negotiate the sale of McKennie for a reasonable offer between 20 or 25 million euros, fixed base plus bonuses. Arsenal could make an attempt for the player should Weston be sold. An assault on Fresneda could materialize. Also, yes, confirmed Arsenal are interested in Juventus midfielder Weston McKennie. I would be interested because he would be what Xhaka is doing at the moment. I think Weston McKennie does that, gets inside the box more often, gets into those clever areas, can do a lot. I'm loving it. I'm really loving it, and I'm really interested in this. Also, Luca Bendoni says, Jakub Kiwior update, work permit is still pending. Everything is expected to be sorted in the next very few hours. There are no problems. Parties working on last details and media content. Then signature and official announcement. The deal is done. It is time, says Luca Bendoni. So Jakub Kiwior to Arsenal is a done deal. Let's talk about Alexander Zinchenko for Arsenal against Manchester United and Spurs. Most touches 178, most passes 136, most duels won 14, most aerial duels won 6, 100% take-ons completed, 100% aerial duels won, and no opposition player has successfully dribbled past him. He was the key. Again, getting back to Weston McKennie. Yes, there is Arsenal on the trade on Weston McKennie. There is a report from John Albanese or Giovanni Albanese. The midfielder has dropped the hypothesis. Bournemouth, Aston Villa and Fulham, the Bayern Canary have set the price for the player. 20 to 25 million on a fixed basis plus bonuses. I already mentioned it. So let me know in the comments, what do you want Weston McKennie at Arsenal? I take him. I don't have any issues with him at all. I think he would be a very immense player. Let's talk about Cesc Fabregas. Now, he has to say something about Arsenal. I don't know why, but Let's see. Let's see how things will change the moment. So let's talking about says Fabregas. I was lucky enough to be in the training ground recently. I felt like I was never before. Everything has changed so much. Manager of the training ground has told me that it's 95% by Mikel. He changed the whole thing. Let's talk about Ivan Fresneda. Arsenal and Borussia Dortmund have both agreed terms for Ivan Fresneda, a fee of 15 million euros, with Fresneda to be loaned back to the Spanish side for the rest of the season. Player to decide between these two clubs. So, informed by David Onstein. So Arsenal are getting Ivan Fresneda only if Fresneda chooses them. Two clubs for Ivan Fresneda. Both the clubs are ready to pay the 15 million euros asking price set by the club. It's up to Fresneda to pick either from Arsenal or Borussia Dortmund. Let me know what you guys, and the decision will be taken today. So let me know what you guys think about that. Fabrizio said, Arsenal plan to hold a new round of talks over the deal for Fresneda after opening negotiations with both player and club side. A player open to move to Premier League, Cedric could leave. Let's see how things will turn out. Moving on, Arsenal players to score in 3 consecutive Premier League appearances versus Manchester United. Freddie Ljungberg did that. Second was Thierry Henry. Third, Bukayo Saka. So interesting from the young player. But that's not the only great thing happening yesterday. The XG was 2.68 for Arsenal's 3 goals to 2 for Manchester United, whose XG was 0.39. Only counter attack, that's what it is. Let's see how that will turn out to be. But let's also talk about more stats coming your way, because come on, it's not that simple. That has worked. So Bukayo Saka, player of the match, according to Sky Sports, 70 touches, 13 touches in opposition's box, 37 out of 47 passes completed, 4 chances created, 5 shots, 2 on target. 7th Premier League goal this season. 3rd Arsenal player to score in 3 consecutive Premier League appearances is Manchester United. And not only that, he joins an elite list of scoring 7 goals and 7 assists in the Europe. And not only him, there are more. I mean, come on. Very interesting players in that list. So he joins a very elite list. But let's talk about Eduardo Camavinga. Well, I read the report that Carlo Ancelotti has said no, he's untouchable, but hey, here's an exclusive, and I'm actually sorry to read this news coming from Indicator. He says, they say that Eduardo Camavinga's agent was at Emirates Stadium to watch Arsenal versus Manchester United. The player has given the green light for Arsenal to contact Real Madrid. The player wants the move. The player wants the move. And I don't think it's going to happen, so let's just move on with this. So with this, I'd like to end this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you see regular Arsenal content, the best place to be, consider subscribing. Arsenal is definitely going to get a new midfielder before the end of this window. We're very positive on that. Cheers.